How can you tell when a letter has been handwritten by a cat? Because the writing is in whiskersive. Welcome to the stream, my friends. Happy Wednesday. I get confused. I think it's Thursday because Wednesday night is garbage night because Wednesday morning is garbage morning. And so I take the garbage out on Wednesday night and then I think, oh, Thursday's garbage day. So it's Thursday. That's not how time works though. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for being here, everybody. Very grateful to have you with us tonight for some Jump King, and later some 50 video games included. Dead Zergling is first in chat. We've got Lucent Jelly as well, and Mile High Rule. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Zergling says, wonder why I go for that first trophy so often. Oh well, it's fun to feel like a winner. Be careful, Zergling. You get too hooked on that feeling, and then you start grinding for expert medals in Jet Force Gemini. Oh, I like that. The letter will look meowgnificent, Zergling says. That's good. I like that. I wanted him to say the return address was from Wisconsin. Wisconsin. It sounds like I'm saying Whisker and Son. I wish that was how time worked, Mile High Rule says. That the night before is the day after? I don't even know what the implications of that would be. I've got some coffee tonight to fuel our endeavors, and a little bit of cheese and some apple slices, so I am all set. Thank you for the warm beverage and the delicious snacks, Jelly. We're just going to play this for a couple hours. Might even be a little bit on the shorter side for Jump King tonight, since we played it so much on Monday. We'll see. I want to make sure I leave plenty of time for 50 video games included. I want to make a good push at that one. Although, I can never really tell how it's going to go, because, like, if we get stuck in one bad game, then we're stuck there all night with that collection. I think I know what that's supposed to be, but I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know what that has to do with a dog. Or why a dog in particular. Or I'm filling in the wrong word. So we've got Arthur. Arthur's gotten better at he seems to be able to distinguish better now between sit and lie down. I've got him to where now I can, once he's lying down, I can tell him to sit and he'll rise up into a sitting position. He's somehow he started to figure that out. And I've almost got him to reliably roll over from a sitting position, because, well, he's only been doing that from a lying position. He would always roll over, would always follow the lie down command, but I've been working on skipping that step and just going from sit directly into roll over, just because why not? And he's a little confused by it, but he's done it. He's done it successfully a couple times, but he doesn't always do it successfully. So hopefully that will lock in soon. Hey, cows, welcome in. Hope you are well today, my friend. I'm feeling all right tonight. I'm a little bit tired. I took a long nap before the stream, but it didn't do me as much good as it should have because I kept waking up every 30 minutes or so. So it really was not a high quality nap. So I'm a little less rested. And we had a massive stream last night. I kept playing for forever. And we did eventually get 2 expert medals. I did get the expert medal in that awful, terrible game that I struggled with for hours upon hours. We worked at that game for like 3 hours, and then I took a BRB so I could take the dog out. And I came back, and I got it on my second try after the BRB. Almost on the first try. The first try run was really good, and then the second run that made it was the run. As out of nowhere. It was like my big brother came in and took the controller or something. And then, we got another expert medal, and so we've got 1 left to get. We've got 1 expert medal left to get, and we've got the arcade racing game. And there's the other racing game that's like the Mario Kart style racing game. Like the bad Mario Kart where you play as an ant. I don't know if we have any more business to do with that one. I feel like we probably do. I don't know. I need to go back and check and see if it has a best time to beat. I've gotten first place in it twice, I think, but neither run was actually very good. So there might be another goal I have to meet with that one. Greg, welcome in. Happy Wednesday night, Greg. Mile Hyrule says, I had to get my wisdom teeth out not too long ago. Got the stitches out today. Feels good to eat normal again. I'm glad you are returning to normal, Mile Hyrule. The wisdom teeth surgery can be quite an adventure. I don't remember having to have my stitches taken out after I had my wisdom teeth removed. I had all 4 of them taken out at once. It was a big ordeal. They said they weren't going to knock me out for my wisdom teeth surgery, but then they ended up doing it anyway. So I don't know what was up with that. But I mean, it's good. It's a good thing they did, because my teeth have abnormally long roots, so extraction is very difficult. And I know this because I've had a couple teeth extracted in addition to my wisdom teeth, and it's always a nightmare. Yeah, I've been enjoying watching Nato play Tears. It's been a good time. Big congrats, Cows says. Thank you, Cows. Thank you. That was a nightmare. That Jet Force Gemini game, that has me feeling low. I feel down in the dumps when I play that game. I can't wait for it to be over. I guess they can't all be Jump King. Hey, Loyal, welcome in. Yeah, you come on a good night. It's a couple hours of Jump King tonight. It's not Jump King all night, but we're going to play it for a while here at the start. Jumping into Frown Town. Welcome in, EpiPen. Thank you for joining us. You did play for... Yeah, even Mr. Suffer came in right at the very end. It's a shame. It's a shame we couldn't host Mr. Suffer's people for longer. I always feel rude when I have to take off, but I mean, I had already started our raid. I'd already, like, the raid bar was counting down already when they came in, so, you know, it has to happen sometimes. What you gonna do? But yeah, it's pretty rare that I hang in there longer than Mr. Suffer. He usually streams later than us. Jelly came in and took the controller, Jelly says. Oh, you're the one. You're the one that saved me in Jet Force Gemini. Well, thank you, Jelly. Mine had dissolvable stitches, Cow says. Just fell out eventually on their own. Okay, I think that must have been the case for me. I mean, it's quite possible I could have gone back to get them removed and just forgot about it. After I had my wisdom teeth surgery, I was in bed for about a week afterwards, and I took a lot. I took a lot of painkillers, and all I remember was sleeping. And for that whole week, I have two memories. I have one memory of my mom coming in my room and waking me up for something, and I called her by my girlfriend's name. When I addressed her. And then another time, my dad came in and woke me up, and he had a bottle of blue Pepsi, and he said, "Here, try this." And I took a drink, and then I went back to sleep. And I'm not sure if either of those things really happened. Jolly says, "I guess I've never had the volume up loud enough to hear the cats because I spent 5 minutes wondering which cat was trapped somewhere in the house." Oh. Losses, welcome in. It's a bad game. I remember seeing Jet Force and Nintendo Power thinking it looked so cool. Jet Force Gemini is making me so upset, Losses. It's the thing about that game is it starts off and it's just kind of okay at the beginning. And then after you play it for a few hours, it does pick up and it starts to become pretty good. Like, I was having a good time for a long time. But now I'm in the late game, and I can't make progress in the main story because it's become too cryptic, and there's all these mini games that are brutal to master, and so I'm wailing and gnashing my teeth as I throw myself against these mini games again and again because they're the only thing I can find that I haven't done in the game yet. And I know that if I ever finish them, I just have to go back to the main game where it's so cryptic I can't find how to make progress. I had fun with Jet Force Gemini for about 30 hours, and now the last 10 hours have been really painful. Really, really painful. If I ever beat it, you'll probably get a more positive review out of me. But currently I'm very unhappy with it. If you'd asked me like 3 weeks ago, I would have told you that it was a really good game and it's a shame it was overlooked and everybody should play it. But now I'm feeling bad, and so my review is a lot more negative at the moment. The fact I made you stream is good enough for me. Hey, thank you, Loyal. Very kind. So happy my chili is over with for now, Zergling says. Half a pound of salmon, a pound of steak tonight instead. Surf and turf. Jelly and I had chili for dinner. We're still working on our giant pot of chili. Yeah, part of why I'm not enjoying Jet Force Gemini is because of the way I'm playing it and what I'm doing to myself. There's also that factor. That always needs to be taken into account, though. Anytime you hear me talk about a game, you have to ask yourself, well, what did Frownie do to make the game worse? And how much of his opinion is skewed by self-inflicted damage? Amazon Prime Directive, welcome in. Very pleased to have you join us tonight. Welcome to Jump King. Jump King is an old nemesis of mine that has it's an old nemesis turned very beloved game. I've gone through a wild string of emotions with this game. Currently, we're not making a lot of progress, but I'm still in high spirits regarding this one. I don't think it's going to be able to take that away from me again. Alright, cat trapped in the room. Jump King is not only trolling Frownie, trolling Jelly too, Cow says. Yeah, only one of our cats. So only Beans would complain about being locked in somewhere, I think. Twiggy. I mean, unless they were locked in so long that they got hungry, then probably any of them would speak up, but just to be like, hey, I'm locked in somewhere. Beans would probably complain, like, kind of right away. Khaki, what's weird is Khaki is the most talkative cat, but I think he's less likely to complain than Beans. And then Twiggy wouldn't say anything unless she was desperate. She not only doesn't, she's, for one, she's not talkative, and two, she prefers to be alone anyway, so she's not going to complain about being locked in anywhere until she really needs something. Five out of 6. It isn't that I hate chili, Zergling says, but 5 out of 6 nights is too much for me. Yeah. I mean, I don't think that's uncommon. I don't... You know, I could eat the same thing 5 or 6 nights in a row fairly happily for about a week. Beyond a week would be a stretch for me. At about day 8, I'd burn out, but I think I'm a little unusual in that regard. Most people, I mean, it seems like a lot of people don't like to eat the same thing 2 nights in a row. But I can have the same thing for about a week before it's going to really grate on me. EpiPen says, went to a Star Wars trivia tonight in observation of May the 4th, assembled a large team, and did pretty terrible, but had a really good time. Hey, that's what it's all about. That's what all games are like for me. I always play terrible, but hopefully I have a good time. This is like the original Getting Over It. I don't know if this or Getting Over It came out first. So I know we're hanging out in the retro category. This game is not actually, you know, this game, people are, I don't think anyone would really consider this retro truly. It came out, I think, in 2020 on the Switch. I think it's 2019 on other platforms. I think it's 2020 on the Switch. So, you know, it's a pretty modern game. But it's, you know, it's retro style, so I didn't see a huge need to change their category. But this one's like 10 times worse than Getting Over It. I haven't played Getting Over It, but people ask about that game a lot. When a lot of people ask about it in the chat when I'm playing this. So I think we are going to play it. If I finish Jump King, we're going to play Getting Over It after I've had a little bit of recovery time. I hope the estimate is right that it's not as bad as this one, because this game has been really tough. Getting Over It might be older. I think the retro feel is adjacent enough. People could argue you don't belong, but it's just an academic conversation. Yeah. Whenever I'm playing like a throwback game like this, like an indie game that's a modern indie game that looks like it's retro, I typically don't bother to change the category. I mean, we played Dark Souls and I stayed in the retro category for most of the playthrough too, so I really only kind of really only bother to stay on top of the category switches if I'm playing like a new release that I think people might be worried for spoilers on. Otherwise, I just don't bother. Getting Over It's still brutal, don't worry. Oh yeah, I have no doubts. I have no doubts. I wouldn't want it any other way. It has QWOP controls. Oh yeah. If I'm gonna, well, so for Getting Over It, I would have to play it on. It has to be on the Switch for me to play it. So there's one thing. I don't know if it's been ported to the Switch. Otherwise, you know, I'd still be interested in playing it, but it's gonna be a long time because I can't and don't do computer games with my current setup. I didn't think about that. I just kind of assumed that there would be a Switch release. But yeah, that's definitely not always true. As in, that means the controls are super jank. Let's go. Hey, Chozo, welcome in. I feel like it's been a little while, Chozo. Great to have you with us tonight. Yeah, we're gonna play 50 video games included later tonight. About an hour and a half, somewhere in that window. We're gonna switch over. Can't do too much Jump King tonight. Gotta leave plenty of time for 50 video games. Sleeping pattern is broken. Yeah, I have not gotten I'm not doing well with my sleep lately. I haven't been doing well with my sleep lately, pretty much all year. I'm all discombobulated with sleep. I'm sleeping at weird times and for short intervals, and it's all really wonky for me. Oh, hey, Derek Ocean. Welcome in. I don't know if I said hello to you yet. Good to have you here. Disney Plus has added all the Planet of the Apes, doing a rewatch of the entire series. I've seen the first Planet of the Apes. I feel like I thought that was pretty good. The original one. I think I saw the remake. I think they did a remake in the 2000s. I think I saw that, or I saw most of it. I don't know. I don't remember it very well. I don't remember thinking very highly of it. I don't remember being that into the remake. What? Sorry, I got someone whispered me a message. I got a whisper from an unknown source, and I don't understand the message I received. That's had me perplexed. I think they're trying to sell me something, but I don't understand the message well enough to know what. I can't really sleep until I can't really stay awake, and then vice versa, EpiPen says. I call it sleep momentum. I hope the term catches on so people legit study it better. I mean, I definitely could sleep more. It's just I have just every day, like throughout the day, I've got stuff going on at bizarre hours that I just don't have a chunk of like 8 or 9 hours where I have nothing to do that I could sleep for. I always like I get close to it. I get close to it most days. I get about a 7-hour window. That's usually my sleeping window. But if anything is off that day, then things get really messed up really quick. Uh-oh. I'm in trouble. I saw Chozo, I saw. uh... I got another whisper. It's a friendly reminder to keep my eyes on the prize. Let's watch the original today. Still a classic, Derek says. Yeah, I haven't watched it. I think I was in high school when I saw it. So it's been a good long while, but I remember it being fun. You've seen all of them. The remake was just okay. Hey, next. Welcome in. Happy Wednesday, my friend. Having an overwhelming amount of free time right now, next says. I was sick, then I had gallbladder surgery. Been off work for like 3 weeks so far. I hope you're recovering well. I work in a warehouse. They won't let me come back until I'm off light duty. So at home I stay. I see. Yeah. One of my very first jobs was a warehouse job when I was much younger, and I loved that job. It was tons. It was tons of fun. It was a great job. It was hard work, but it was a good environment. It was a small. It was a cafeteria warehouse on the like the stock room. So, you know, not like a warehouse, but it was on the campus where I went to college. I actually started off cashiering in the convenience store on campus, but they had me do inventory one day, and they really liked how well I did it. So then I was doing inventory regularly, and then suddenly I wasn't a cashier anymore. I was a stock hand. And so then it was receiving and ordering all the time. So it was good. It suited me well. Moving boxes all day long. But it was me and one other guy, and I was really good friends with the guy that I worked with. So I think I look fondly back at that job. Frownie reads all the DMs. I mean, I don't tend to receive a whole lot, so it's easy to stay on top of them. If I were swamped, I might start letting some fall by the wayside. I'm here to remind you about your car's extended warranty. The second Apes movie is weird, and then time travel gets involved. I don't know that I'm so big on time travel stories. Some of the Ape sequels are very interesting. It could be fun if I had a way, you know what? Like if I come across the Apes movies like in a thrift shop or something on DVD, I'd pick them up and work my way through them. So no immediate plans, but I'd be open to working my way through them some point down the line. My warehouse is UPS. It's pretty intense. Not many jobs you can listen to podcasts the whole time. True. When I worked in the library system, I had a lot of freedom to listen to whatever I wanted when my shift during the portion of my shift where the building was actually still closed. Which wasn't a ton, but it was nice to at least be able to like have that freedom for part of the day. But that's pretty much the last time where I could do that. Predestination's my recommendation to you, Chozo says. Absolute masterpiece. Time travel story. 12 Monkeys and Predestination are two movies that didn't mess up time travel. I've seen 12 Monkeys, but I think I was in middle school when I watched that. It's been ages since I've seen that film. I remember parts of it pretty clearly, but I couldn't tell you what the like overall story of it is. I remember how it ends, though. Pretty clearly. Made sense. I don't want to spoil it, honestly. Yeah, thank you for avoiding spoilers, Derek. Always appreciated. I'd give it a try, even if it was, you know, the first movie built up goodwill, so I would watch my way through them if even if they were pretty bad. Even if they got pretty bad, I'd probably stick with them just because the first one built up a lot of goodwill. But yeah, I haven't come across them out in the wild, so I've never made the time for them. Time travel is a fatigued trope, but there's some good stories, EpiPen says. There's a TV series based off Planet of the Apes, but no one has to watch it, Derek says. I had an odd dream last night, Zergang says. Part of it involved a new graphically updated version of Ape Escape for some reason. I blame Frownie. I'll happily take the blame for that. Ape Escape is a fantastic game. I loved Ape Escape. I still haven't done the mini games. I need to go back and do the mini games. I keep not getting around to that. I haven't forgotten them. It's just that I don't know. I really want to finish off some of this other stuff we're working on. I'm feeling spread thin by having a lot of games on the schedule for so long that I haven't been able to finish up. Back to the Future are some near-perfect movies. Not the technology, of course, but some movies, in rare occasion, are perfect. I like the Back to the Future films. They're pretty great. There's an animated Planet of the Apes as well. I think I remember that. Actually, I don't think I remember the show. What I think I remember is I think I remember commercials for the toys from the show. But I might be misremembering. I don't think I've ever seen the animated Planet of the Apes, but I think I might have had on one of the like VHS tapes I had as a kid. I might have had a commercial for the toys from the show. Hey, Driftwood, welcome in. The original Ghostbusters 2, that film is lightning in a bottle. I mean, yeah, Ghostbusters is fantastic. We were kind of thinking, I don't know how much of the conversation you caught. We were talking about time travel stories. Is what brought Back to the Future up. I said I'm not super enthusiastic about time travel stories, and then people were sharing examples of good ones. Yeah, no worries, no worries. Terminator is good too. Yeah. Yeah. I don't even think of I mean, I know it's a time travel. There's time travel involved. I don't even really think about the time travel when I think about Terminator, but you're right. Should I say what I'm thinking now and horrify everyone? I think I'll say it. I think I like Ghostbusters 2 more than Ghostbusters 1. Oh. I certainly have more nostalgia for Ghostbusters 2. It's the one I saw over and over again when I was a kid. I saw the first one when I was a kid, but I didn't see it as frequently. And that's a bold statement. I love both of them. I don't know that I could argue it's a better movie, but I think I like it more. Though there's a lot of nostalgia wrapped up in that. A lot of people seem to have turned on Ghostbusters too. I don't hear a lot of people that say that they like it. It's not bad. Don't hate it, like many seem to. T2 is probably perfecter than T1. Surprisingly, it's probably not a better movie than T1. I like so I'm on record as saying I like T1 better than T2. But I haven't watched them in a long time, and I'd also been on record as saying I liked Alien more than Aliens, but I rewatched the 4 Alien movies about a year ago, and I don't think that's true anymore. I think I do have to say I like Aliens better than Alien. I thought it was the other way around, but watching them recently, I think I enjoy Aliens more. So I need to rewatch the T1 and 2. See if I still like the first one better. I think I will. But who knows? That was the quickest fall down the tower ever. Oh, I don't know about that circling. I think I've missed that jump before. That jump's tougher than it looks. The Forever War, Driftwood says, by Joe Haldeman. One of my favorites. Well, they only travel forward in time due to wormhole/time dilation. I'm not familiar with that story. I don't think I've heard of it. EpiPen says the original Ghostbusters coming to America, and maybe Matrix 1. Some more examples of fairly perfect movies. I don't think I've seen Coming to America. Oh, Derek said I missed a comment earlier. Trying to catch up. Beat the game I've been working on. Daymare. There was a terrible boss fight. Sorry about that. A lot of people hate Ghostbusters too. I don't get it. Derek says, yeah. People who dislike Ghostbusters 2 probably didn't like the NES. Zergling says, oh, they're all Sega fans. Uh-oh. Yeah, I didn't bother to see any of the reboot Ghostbusters. I didn't see the 2016 or the Afterlife. I'm just I don't know. I think the window closed on a I mean the window. I don't think there can ever really be a Ghostbusters 3. Hey, Nato, welcome in. Thank you for the raid. Very grateful to have you here, my friend. Welcome in, Raiders. What's that? Floof Doge, welcome in. Thank you for coming along. Grateful to have you here. Welcome to Jump King, a game where very little happens. This is a brutal, if you don't know Jump King, it's kind of like Getting Over It. It's a brutal troll game. And I'm very far along in it. That doesn't really mean a whole lot, because you can lose. If you hang around, you'll see you can lose all kinds of progress in seconds, but we've been playing this one for quite a while. How did Tears go, Nado? Any more significant like any more major events happen? Have you have any I don't know, more shrines or I don't want to list things you could have potentially come across because I don't want to mention anything you haven't. I can't finish my questions. But I'd love to hear what kind of progress is made. Thank you for the follow, Floof. Grateful to have you on board with us. We are so if you're new, if you for anyone who's new to the stream, we're primarily a retro video game stream. Anything from the Commodore 64 to PlayStation 2 is usually on the table. I do play newer things on the Switch. I'm kind of a Nintendo fan, but I'm definitely not locked in exclusively to Nintendo when it comes to the older stuff. Newer stuff I kind of am. I prioritize extremely strictly blind playthroughs. I try as hard as possible to never do any research or ask for any help or hints or advice if I can at all manage it. So frequently my playthroughs are very slow and very painful. I like to play a bit of everything. I really like tough platformers. Contra and Castlevania and Super Ghouls and Ghosts are some of my favorite games. So we play things like that frequently, and I'll often challenge myself to beat games like that. 1 credit or deathless or no items or just however I can make it difficult and interesting. I also like janky trash games, so I play a lot of shovelware, a lot of licensed games. In about an hour, we're going to switch gears from Jump King, and we're going to play a plug-and-play we've been working on called 50 Video Games Included. It's similar in concept to Action 52, if you've ever heard of that game. I've been playing it for a while. We pick it up every couple weeks or so and just chip away at it, because I've been trying to beat every game in the collection, and that's not always possible, but I try real hard. I try to keep the stream fairly laid back. We try to keep a pretty family-friendly environment. I do play M-rated games sometimes, but I'm generally good about giving a heads up about when that's going to happen. And that's pretty much it. It's a late night stream. You can find us almost every night, very late in the Central Time Zone. So hopefully you enjoy your time with us, my friends. Right now we're chatting about movies, and I just made the horrifying claim that I like Ghostbusters 2 more than Ghostbusters 1. So if you need a reason to not follow me, that's probably it. Let me get caught up with the chat here. I'm way behind. I definitely want to read everything that everyone has to say. Derek says, I like T2 more than T1. But I love T1 since it's basically a horror movie. Aliens are such different films in their styles, it's easy to love them both, Driftwood says. Yeah, and I do. Don't get me wrong. I definitely don't dislike either of them. I'm currently traveling forward in time, EpiPen says. I think it's slowly destroying my body and mind. Oh. Derek's playing The Second Daymare. 1994 so far. Seems better. Right on. Afterlife is a better movie as a prequel for the sequel that came after, EpiPen says. Nato says, thought the 2 recent Ghostbusters were actually pretty decent. Yeah, I don't know. Once we lost Harold Ramis, I just feel like that really, the the potential for any more Ghostbusters was long gone. Latest one's pretty decent. Afterlife teased it up pretty well, EpiPen says. I'm not saying I'll never watch them, but I'm not in a hurry. Jump King's a lot of jumping and a lot of breaking your legs. It's a lot of breaking your spirit and breaking your heart. Nado says, made it to a temple only to find out we didn't have something we needed after an hour. Several more shrines. Only one tower left. 10 hearts, 2.4 stamina wheels. Alright, that's a pretty hefty chunk of progress then. You have a Commodore. So for Commodore, I do like to use original hardware as much as possible. For the Commodore 64, I use the C64 Mini. I don't, sadly, like, I love having the old retro consoles. I'm lucky. I started collecting the stuff back when nobody cared about it, so you could find it for pennies at yard sales. But, I don't have the time or the talent or the money to maintain a functioning retro PC, I think. They tend to require maintenance that I'm not confident I can do. I mean, all this old stuff needs or is going to need maintenance at some point, but I'm intimidated by the amount of work a C64 might require. So we do use the C64 Mini for that. I do have my old C64 monitor. It was my dad's, but he gave it to me. It was my TV in my bedroom when I was a kid. It's what I played everything on growing up, was the C64 monitor. An excellent little CRT it is, and it still works. Every single time I think of the Commodore, I think of Manic Miner almost immediately. I didn't grow up with that one, but we played it a little bit on the stream. I like, if I'm thinking of the right game, I like those kind of games where they're like single screen platformers. You get a lot of those on the Commodore 64. I think Dino Eggs is my favorite C64 game. I really like the C64 is a great version of Donkey Kong. I really like Popeye on the C64. But I think Dino Eggs is my favorite. Frownie is a boss. Thank you, Nado. Don't remind me of Action 52. Hey, Finragon, welcome in. I'm way behind in the chat. I'm way behind, sorry. If only you'd help. I'm perpetually living in the future, Nato says. If only you'd help the rest of us out, like sending us lottery numbers. I got upscalers for all my classic consoles recently, EpiPen says, then packed them all back up. I don't have any experience with that kind of tech. I just, I'm not really much of, like, I don't really need a lot of, like, crisp video. I'm fine with the image I get from a composite cable. Have you ever played through DuckTales on the NES? We started that game, EpiPen. We played it one night. I think I made it up to the final boss. I think I made it up to what I think was the final boss, but I tripped at the finish line and didn't beat it. And I didn't play it again because I got a message about the copyrighted music. And that made me hesitant to, I got my VOD muted, and that made me hesitant to pick it back up. I think we will. I think we will some night anyway, though, because it's a pretty cool game, and I'd like to beat it. Yeah, copyright shenanigans. Copyright shenanigans. Welcome in, Zero. Floop says, played the remastered one. Very fun. Yeah, I enjoyed it. It's a little bit janky. Oh my goodness. There was a mind-blowing moment in DuckTales that lives with me, though. I don't know. I was on that Transylvania level. For hours. I was stuck there for a really long time when I was playing DuckTales, and I was having fun, but it was rough. I was just there forever, and then I finally beat the level. I finally beat the level, and I was so excited to move on and see the next thing. And I started the next level, and immediately at the start of the next level, there was a locked door, and it said this door is locked. The key is in Transylvania, and it sent me right back. And all of my joy was crushed. Oh, that moment lives with me. That game. that game got me good at that part. It's too bad about the copyright. I wanted to try that one. I mean, I don't think there's any real consequence to it. It's just I don't know. I don't like to get those messages. That's when Frownie became Agent Frownie. This tower is a very scary place. The music sounds like the theme song. Yes, 'cause it is. Oh. Okay, we're alright. This jump is bad. We made it, but no. These jumps for the ledge that you're landing on. These jumps for the ledge that you're landing on is like super narrow. They're so tough because if you have even a single molecule of extra power in your jump, you hit the wall and bounce really far back. They're really yucky. Cool. All the way back down. Hey, Final, welcome in. Always great to have you with us. Just got done playing Endless Ocean. Luminous. Right on. Didn't you... So, that's a rather short game, then, if I understand correctly, because I think you just started it too, right? It's not really much. Plug in the upscaler, then plug it into the TV. Help prevent the NES and SNES games from flickering on flat screens. They're like $20, EpiPen says. I mean, there may come a time where, you know, if all my CRTs burn out, someday there may come a time where I'll need technology like that. I won't have any other way around it. But as long as I can go without upgrading, I'm gonna hang in there. Use the old stuff until it dies. I like the Monopoly Man Frownie icon Final says. It symbolizes that being rich doesn't necessarily mean you're happy. Jelly made that for me because I told her that we were going to play Monopoly on the stream, and we did, and it was probably the dullest thing I've ever played on the stream. You see, the secret is that that money bag Frownie's holding is full of gold coins, but all of those gold coins are full of chocolate. Oh yeah, so yeah, we got the real gold. We got the green outfit, Nato, at the start of the DLC. There was a little side quest where we had to collect a bunch of mushrooms for this guy in the forest, and he rewarded us with a green tunic and a hat. And I'm not really sure what it was all about, other than I feel like the conical shape of the hat is symbolic of the foolishness that I must possess in order to continue playing Jump King. It's a dunce cap, at least when I wear it. There's always further to falls. Never say all the way down. I prefer not to think about. I'd prefer not to think too hard about how far I am eventually going to fall. I won't say how far I could fall, because every fall that can happen will happen. At least 3 times. Do you play Game Boy Color, or Game Boy Advance games in your CRT? All of the above, Nato. Yeah. So, regular Game Boy games, I'll usually use the Super Game Boy to play those. And then Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance, I use the Game Boy Player on the GameCube. The Super Game Boy is really good. Playing Game Boy games on the Super Game Boy is pretty great. It works real well. It's real responsive. It actually runs the games faster than original Game Boy hardware. Game Boy The Super Game Boy runs games. I think it's 2.3% faster. It's so slight you'd never notice, but I needed to know that because I used to speedrun a Game Boy game on the on that hardware, and so all my times had to be adjusted because I was playing in hyper speed mode. The Game Boy player is good. It does its job all right. There is input delay with the Game Boy player. It's not terrible. Like, it's better. The input delay you get with the Game Boy player is not as bad as the input delay you get plugging a retro console into a modern TV. But there is some input delay there. I don't really feel it, but I looked into it because I don't really feel the input delay from that. That's why I say it's not as bad as like flat screen input delay, but I know it's there because I looked into it because of the speedrunning thing. Because I was trying to see if it might be better to do my runs on the Game Boy player hardware, but from what I was reading, it looked like no, because of the slight input delay. Take anything tech related you hear from me, take with a grain of salt, because I really don't understand. I really don't understand technology. All these consoles are just magic boxes that let me control the cartoons I watch. That's what they all are to me. Are dunce caps even a thing anymore? Nato says. I don't think so. I mean, I feel like I learned about dunce caps in middle school, and they were presented to me then as a thing of the past. Just reading a few messages I missed before. They're not necessarily directed at me, some of them. Calling this control is a bold statement. There's a game called Kirby's Tilt and Tumble on the Game Boy Color. You may already be familiar with it, but if you're not, there's I think it is Kirby's Tilt and Tumble on the Game Boy Color. It's a motion control Game Boy game. And when speedrunners run that game, they use the Game Boy player. But because it's motion control, they have to use the GameCube as the controller. They pick up the whole console and move it around as the controller for Kirby's Tilt and Tumble. I've seen a couple of them do it. And one thing that's interesting is the cartridge plugs into the Game Boy player backward compared to the way it does into a Game Boy. So not only are you holding the whole console as your controller, but you have to move everything in reverse. It's pretty wild. Another raid, Dollar Phil, welcome in. How did Legendary Axe finish up, Dollar Phil? Welcome in, Conqueror Worm. Great to have you with us. Jump King again. Yeah, just for a little while longer. We're playing this about another half an hour tonight. So far, I haven't done really that great. We haven't tied our PB or passed it yet. We did make it up to the tower once, so we got close to matching our PB, but not quite. But we're playing this for the first part of the stream, and we're gonna play some janky plug and play games for the rest of the night. Got a PB, but I kept getting worse. That game looks a little rough. It kind of reminds me. It kind of looks a little bit like Altered Beast. Like, it doesn't like look exactly like that game, but it looks like it's kind of janky, like Altered Beast is. It looks like it's kind of stiff and janky, the controls for that game. Jank can be fun. It sure can. It can be a terrible nightmare, too, which is fun in its own way, right? It feels a little off, Legendary Axe. There's a sort of wind-up when you attack. I played a game, it reminds me of a game that I played on the stream called Thou Art Dead. I don't know if you know that game. It's a fake arcade game from the animated film Monster House, but they made a real version of it for the video game, for the tie-in video game for Monster House. There's a version of the game Thou Art Dead as an unlockable in that. And we played through that, and it's actually pretty cool. I assure you, it's a very real arcade game now. Final says. Did someone make an arcade cabinet of Thou Art Dead? Conquer Worm says, from what I understand, it's possible to use a software mod called Game Boy Interface to get rid of the input delay on the Game Boy player. It can also make Game Boy games look better on a TV. It's kind of a pain to set up, though. I hadn't heard of that. That could be useful. I probably wouldn't bother. Trying to set it up for myself unless I found a Game Boy Color game or something that I really wanted to speedrun. Assuming such a mod wouldn't invalidate my runs. Tilt and Tumble doesn't work on the Switch. I didn't even expect it to have been released on the Switch. Oh yeah, the Thou Art Dead. Yeah, you can play it. Yeah, no, we played it on the stream. I liked that better than I liked the rest of the Monster House game. I wish I had it on the PlayStation 2 though, because I have that game on the GameCube, so when I play, like if I want to replay Thou Art Dead, I've got to play it with that little Actually, I don't. I was gonna say I have to play it with the little D-pad on the GameCube controller, which is terrible. But I don't, because I use Nintendo 64. I use the Nintendo 64 controller for Game Boy Player games. I could use it for that too. It would work just as well. So you know what? Never mind. It's fine to have it on the GameCube. I should play that again just so I can use the better D-pad next time. The only thing I don't like about that game is I don't think it's beatable. I think it's made to loop forever. They need to release it standalone. It looks awesome, Final says. I mean, you know, it's definitely not the best game ever made, but it's pretty cool for what it is. I use GBI with Swiss. Frownie, we might have to talk about Swiss. I don't know what Swiss is, Nato. Thou art falling. Tilt and Tumble's in the Switch free for subscribers. But it's all jacked up like Mountain Dew. Well, that's a shame. It's kind of like homebrew for your hardware GameCube. I could maybe experiment with that. I don't do a lot of modding of my consoles. I tend to just pretty much leave everything vanilla. I did jailbreak my Wii though. I've got like the homebrew channel and some other stuff on my Wii. And I've thought about doing the same to the Wii U. I'd like to put some... I want to put some emulators on my Xbox, but I watched a video on how to do it, and I'm intimidated by the process. Because it looks like you have to do you have to do file transfers over the internet to put them onto the Xbox. I don't know. It looked more complicated than what I'm comfortable with. I can probably figure it out, but... It looks like it's gonna take me a weekend. I didn't think I was gonna make that jump. Well, then I missed another one that made that one not matter. You're just pretending to be afraid of falling over and over now. No, my fear of falling is largely lost. I'm only afraid when I get up near something new. Like down here, like I just accept falling as just part of my existence. It's just gonna happen. My pulse doesn't get pounding until we're up in the tower. Goodness. I keep doing the same thing. I can't wake up. Currently, so one of the things about the Game Boy player is, like, it doesn't really matter to me very much how well or poorly the Game Boy player runs games, for the most part, because the stuff that the Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance games that I play are largely trash anyway. I have played shockingly few Game Boy Color or Game Boy Advance games that are worth playing. Almost everything that I've played from those libraries has been pure garbage. It's been Powerpuff Girls and Scooby-Doo and Tasmanian Devil and horse riding games and strawberry shortcake games. Like, it has been Dr. Evil. It has been trash. Have we even played any? Have we played any good Game Boy Color games at all? I think Wario Land. We played Wario Land 3. Might be the only decent thing we've played on the Game Boy Color. 102 Dalmatians on the Game Boy Color is pretty good too. It's not a great game, but for a licensed title, it's pretty good. It's way better than you'd think it would be. Are there any good Game Boy Color games? There's like 5 of them, Final says. The Austin Powers games. Yep. Game Boy Advance, we at least played a couple Metroid games on the Game Boy Advance, so like those are good. Powerpuff Girls Him and Seek is really good on the Game Boy Advance. I would willingly play that game again. That one was good. Yeah, the 3 Zelda games on the Game Boy Color. We haven't done those, but those are those are quality games. Wario Land 2 did get a Game Boy Color release, but we played the original Game Boy version of it. I really like the Game and Watch Gallery games on the Game Boy Color. I got really obsessed with those when I was younger. Game and Watch Gallery 2 and 3, I think I had, and I poured a lot of hours into those. Survival Kids on the Game Boy Color is really good. There's a good Game Boy Color game that we've played. That game is fantastic. They put the Game & Watch Gallery in the Switch Online. Yeah, I heard that Metal Gear game on the Game Boy Color is supposed to be really good. I'd like to play that. I think that would be fun. But there's dialogue. Yeah, but I imagine it's not going to be as bad as like a PlayStation Metal Gear game, right? Surely it'll be quieter than one of those. Oh. That was a pretty massive fall. Don't call me Shirley. Oh no, where am I going? Frownie, you have a cat. Yeah, I've got, we have 3 cats. I've got a solid black male that well, we named him Inky when we got him, but we really call him Beans. And then we have a kind of a tan male named Khaki. We sometimes call him Mr. Pants. And we have a gray tabby female named Twiggy. And we also have a border collie named Arthur. So our house is pure chaos. We got 3 cats and a great big dog. Not that, you know, a border collie is the biggest dog you can get, but before our last dog, we had a dog a few years back. He kind of ran out his clock, unfortunately. But he was a Shih Tzu, so there's been a considerable size increase. I keep hearing the meows and reflexively looking around for my cat. Well, I would be pretty stunned if any of the cats, if any of the meows were my actual cats, because I stream. I'm down in the basement, and we don't allow the cats down into the basement. For one, like, we just don't want them to like climb into somewhere and get stuck. But that's basically it. It's just too dangerous down here. There's like the open like sump pump and the laundry machines. This is just stuff they could get into that would cause trouble. So we don't let them into the basement. It's unsafe. We might train Arthur to come down here and hang out, though. Not that it would affect the stream, because, like, my computer's not sophisticated enough to have multiple camera angles, so we couldn't do something like a doggo cam or something like that, but I have thought about, if I ever get this place properly organized, putting together a corner of the room for him to hang out in, if he wants to come down here at night. And kind of train him to hang out peacefully in the basement, if that can be done. A size pup grade, if you will, Cal says. Oh, very well done, Cows. Very well done. Uncouth? I know chaos. I have a 4-year-old, Finragon says. Okay. Yeah, that, a tiny human creature would very much, magnify the degree of chaos already existent in my life. Oh yeah. No, it's not the cat. You're not hearing my cats. It's the cats of the game. But yeah, the cats in the game are very talkative. It's what, well, if you're hearing cats, it's 100% them. Oh, I lost my train of thought. I was gonna. Oh. So our dog Arthur. So I picked out Arthur, like, you know, because like we'd had a Shih Tzu before, and it had been a while, and I was talking to Jelly, and I was like, I told her, I said, I think that we can consider getting a new dog, but I told her I wanted to get an Australian Shepherd because when I was in high school, my best friend when I was in high school had an Australian Shepherd, and named Snap, and I was pretty impressed with. I was always pretty impressed with his dog, and so I was remembering that, and I thought, yeah, I want to get an Australian Shepherd like my friend had, and so Jelly started looking around, and we found. And she found it. She found a couple dogs, and she showed me the first one, and I said, "Yep, that's it. We'll get that one." I didn't even need to look at the other dogs because the first one she showed me was like exactly what I had in mind for the kind of dog that I wanted to get. And he's very handsome. I mean, he was a you know, a very tiny puppy then, but a very cute puppy. It's like black and white. With like a solid black head, but like one little thin diamond of white on his forehead. He's a very handsome young man. But so Jelly showed me the one picture, and I said, yep, that's the one. He's perfect. We'll get that dog. And so we went, you know, I of course assuming that when we went to meet him, he wasn't an absolute terror. But we called, and they let us come and check him out, and he seemed great. So we got him, we brought him home, and I liked him because he looks just like the dog that my friend had. And then we took him to the vet, and the vet said, "This isn't an Australian Shepherd. This is a Border Collie." And I was like, "Oh, well, I guess my friend in high school didn't have an Australian Shepherd. I guess he had a Border Collie." I wonder if he knew that. Because it has to be. I mean, I know they can look kind of similar, but it has to be the same breed of dog. It looks just the same. But the shelter that we adopted him from thought that he was an Australian Shepherd too. So I mean, I don't know. I guess they're, you know, easy to confuse for one another. We could have him DNA tested if we really wanted to be sure, but I didn't figure it matters all that much. What really matters is he's a dog of the approximate size that I wanted to have. He's maybe slightly bigger than I thought he was going to be. But he's not as big as I was worried he was going to get. He's a dog of the right size, and he's a very good boy. That's what really matters. No, just the one dog, Loyal. I'm just retelling the story about our current dog. We're not gonna get any more dogs. It turns out no one actually knows what an Australian Shepherd looks like, Cow says. Oh. Spoiler, there's jumping in this game. Oh, be careful. To be fair, my friend has a dog that's half German Shepherd and half Jack Russell Terrier, and she looks like an Australian Shepherd. Yeah, Arthur is a very good dog. He's very quiet and he's very gentle. He's maybe a little less brave than I would like him to be. He's quite timid. But if that's the price to pay for gentleness, then I'll take it. He's got a very sweet disposition. There's also falling in this game. Oh, no. I would have preferred, you know, I would prefer a playthrough. I would have preferred a playthrough where I never discovered the falling. Those are my favorite kinds of playthroughs. I love when I'm able to play through an entire game, and I never discover one of its mechanics. Those are my favorites. On the one hand, I really want to see everything the game has to offer, but on the other hand, if I honestly overlook something that's really obvious, I'm even more pleased. I think that goes for everyone who's played this game. Would prefer not to discover the falling. Exactly. Yeah. Oh. That felt bad. Oh no, this is bad. It went better than I expected. The second quest in this game is set up to give you a really nasty fall right at the very end. Probably the worst fall I've experienced in the game so far. Is like the next to last jump at the very end of the second quest. Which I actually did before the first quest, because I was confused and did them out of order. Been learning to play Big Blue on piano. It's a fun song to play. That's the one from F-Zero. I can't just play it in my head. Like it's not one that I can hear in my memory, but I know if I listened to it, I would recognize it. Because I think probably more from Smash Brothers than actual F-Zero, but no more pretending to hope you'll fall. I'm coming clean. Go, Frownie, go. Hey, thanks, EpiPen. Gotta get some shut-eye, but leaving you alert, Frownie? Hey, thank you, Finn. I really appreciate that. It's been great to have you here chatting with us tonight. I hope you sleep very well. And have a fantastic tomorrow. Ah, it goes do. Thank you, Final. Now I definitely know the one. When I read out the do that you wrote there, what I actually hear in my mind reading that is the title theme to Mega Man 9. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. I haven't actually played through Mega Man 9, but I had the soundtrack for the game on my iPod Touch, and I walked around listening to it for quite a while. I really liked that soundtrack, but I still haven't played through the game. I like that title theme a lot. I actually learned to play the main part of it on the guitar, and I don't learn a lot of lead, but I sat down and figured that out once upon a time. Yeah. It's a good bit, Final. Alright, we're at the 2-hour mark. I'm gonna see if I can get up to the tower in the next like 5 minutes. Let's go really focused mode. And but then I'm gonna take a BRB here real soon, and we're gonna switch to the plug and play. I can imagine when Jump King falls, like I can imagine a little like the symbols appearing over his head, like his dialogue, but like the symbols from Q*bert. That'd be a good question for like a video game trivia night. Can you name in order the symbols that are used for Q*bert's exclamation? What are the symbols that Q*bert says? Is there a lore answer for why Jump King wears a green dunce cap? So the green cap is an optional piece of clothing. I actually found it at the beginning. So we're playing DLC 2. It's the third quest, right? There's a base game and there's 2 DLCs. So there are 3 quests. And we're on quest 3, DLC 2. At the beginning of quest 3, there's a little side quest that it starts off with where you meet a guy in the forest. You start off in a forest, and there's a guy there, and he says, if you bring me some mushrooms, I'll give you a reward. And the hat is our reward for bringing him the mushrooms. I don't know that there's any purpose to it other than just something fun. Some of the inventory items have purposes. Some of them you collect to trade for other items. And some of them, like the snake ring, actually has a purpose. It lets you walk in environments you can't normally walk in, but at the cost of turning every platform into ice physics. So it has a give and take. The giant's boots make your feet real heavy, and then you can't walk anymore. So I don't know the point. The giant's boots, I think, have to have an upside, but I haven't discovered it yet. But I think the scholar's hat is just cosmetic, right? Because like base level Jump King just looks like this. I think that's with nothing. And then these shoes, you can get fancy shoes, but I think these shoes are just cosmetic too. I thought there was a time where I thought these shoes let you walk on ice, but I was actually wrong about that. The yellow shoes, I think, are cosmetic. And the crowns, you get the crowns for beating the other quests. For beating the main game, you get a gold crown, and you get the magic crown for beating the first DLC. But I've just been wearing these because they're the newest things I have. There's more to it than jumping. Well, there's not a whole lot more to it than jumping. It is a very simple game. The other stuff is not, while there is a little bit there, it's not very deep. But you do occasionally meet characters who will send you on little like side quests. If you're willing to take them. Which the side quest is usually just collect some item in the environment and bring it back. They're pretty simple. You get the same when I get new cosmetics in games. Yeah, and I haven't bothered to switch it out. Just in case I figure out that it has some effect. I don't know. I never know when I might learn something that I've been overlooking. There's always potential for that. No. No. Don't. Please stop falling. Oh. Well. Alright. We're going to call it a night with Jump King there, my friends. It's been fun. We didn't make a new PB. We didn't get to see anything new. But I think we're going to rest this one here. And we'll move on. We'll move on to the second part of the night. We'll play more Jump King again. I don't know if we're gonna play more of this week. We might let Jump King rest until next week. Because I'd like to play something new tomorrow night. And we've got Jet Force Gemini on Friday, so I don't think I'm gonna have time for more Jump King this week, but we'll definitely play it next week. We'll see. We might play some we might play some Jump King. If we have time at the end of tomorrow night's stream, we might play some Jump King tomorrow night at the end of the stream. But don't tune in just for it, because you might get disappointed. Jump King gets 2 hours, while Jet Force Gemini got 2.5. There's no justice in this world, Zergling said. Jump King will get its own 7.5 hour night. Don't you worry. Don't you worry, Zergling. We're back to the Phantom Tower, and we're back to the House of Nine Lives. Let me just, Big Blue is very similar to the start of Punch-Out matches, Final says. I haven't heard anyone talk about Qbert in years, Greg says. The same with new cosmetics and games. All of my operators in Rainbow Six Siege look dumb because I equip whatever is new. Nice. Time for the best and most coolest plug-and-play ever, Cal says. Yeah, that's what's coming up. Hey, Tuesday, welcome in. Happy Tuesday to you. Grant me refuge from this awful Monday I've just survived. What? We're grateful to have you here, Tuesday. Jet Force Gemini deserves a 5-minute fire, as in burn that terrible game dead. Tuesday had a Monday. The time continuum is collapsing. All right, I'm gonna take a short BRB. I'm gonna take the doggo out real quick, so I'll be gone maybe about 10 minutes. But when I get back, we'll change over. We'll switch to our plug and play, and we will enjoy whatever jank treasures that has in store for us for tonight. Thank you for being here, for Jump King. Keep an eye on the Discord. I'll try and let you know a little bit ahead of time when more is coming up. Like I said, maybe at the end of the stream tomorrow night, but not guaranteed. And if not then definitely early next week for more Jump King. But I'll be back with you in just a couple minutes. See you soon, my friends.